Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2022 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, we're going to be showing you how to install the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver. But before we do that, why don't we check it out and make sure that this is going to be the right one for your Jeep. When it comes to the Jeep, there's a ton of different accessories available for it, and they accept them really well. So you can do a lot of different things, and that's really no different with the trailer hitch here. So having a hitch on the back is going to open up your opportunities on what you can do, whether you're trying to pull a trailer around or even use an accessory, say like a bike rack or a cargo carrier. Having the hitch back here is going to allow you to get that job done. With this being a class 3 hitch, it is going to have the 2" by 2" receiver tube opening, and that is a very common size. A lot of different stuff's going to work with it. At the end, there's a reinforced collar for some extra strength, and it is going to use that standard 5/8 pin and clip. But keep in mind, pin and clip won't come included with the hitch. If you need one, you can always grab it right here at eTrailer. They're going to have plate style safety chain openings, and these are going to be large enough to allow us to use just about any size hook that our trailer might have. When it comes to the hitch's weight capacities, it's going to have a 350-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating, and that's going to be the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. So that's a relatively high number. You should be able to use most bike racks and cargo carriers. Just going to give you an example. As far as the hitch's maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 3,500 pounds, or the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch. That's the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. This setup can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component. And what happens whenever you use that, it's going to keep your trailer and your Jeep level whenever you're towing it down the road. So if you have a bigger trailer or camper or something like that, might be worth checking into. With that said, if you do use the weight distribution, the capacities are going to increase a little bit. Maximum gross tongue weight will be 400, and the maximum trailer weight will be 4,000. With all that in mind though, I do always like to suggest it's never a bad idea just to grab your Jeep's owner's manual. That way you can make sure your Wrangler Unlimited can pull that much weight safely. Let's go ahead and just grab a few measurements, and these are going to help us figure out what hitch mounted accessories will work best. If we go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, it's going to be about 19.5 inches. So if you plan on getting a ball mount to tow a trailer, chances are pretty good you can get one that just has a very slight drop in the shank. We go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper. That's going to be about 2.5 inches. And if you go from the pinhole to the edge of our spare tire, that's going to be about 8 inches. And you can use those measurements to help figure out that if any folding type accessories you might have can be stored in that upright position without hitting the back of your tire. Now, with all that said, and with changing tire sizes and doing lift kits and things like that are really popular on these Jeeps, if you do that, that can obviously affect the measurements, right? And just to kind of give you a reference, today our Jeep, the tire size is a 245/75/17. Other than that though, you know, hitch gotta get the job done. I think it looks pretty good too. With this one, you know, the end of the receiver tube is pretty much flush with your back bumper. I will say, if you primarily plan on using accessories, you know, bike rack, cargo carrier, might not be a bad idea to think about getting a hitch that extends a little bit further out. Just buys you a little more clearance so you can fold everything up, especially if you have larger tires. But I just wanted to throw that out there. As far as the installation goes, really not too bad. Essentially, you just hold the hitch up and put the bolts through it and tighten them down. So really shouldn't run into too many issues. But if you'd like to see how that's done, feel free to hang out. We'll go ahead, pull into the garage, and put the hitch on together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be working here at the back of our Jeep. And along this cross beam here, we're going to have some attachment points that we're going to use to bolt up our hitch. If we look at this cross beam here, we're going to have a total of 4 attachment points. So this hole, this one, and that one. And now that we identified our attachment points of where we're going to be working, let's go ahead and just go over the hardware combination that we're going to use. Now that we identified our attachment points, we'll go over the hardware that we're going to use to secure the hitch. So you're going to have a bolt and a flat washer. You're going to put the washer on, and then obviously when our hitch is up in place, we're going to feed the hardware through the attachment point, and then once it comes out the other side, you're going to take a flange nut and simply thread it on. And that's going to be the hardware combo for all 4 locations. But now that we know what we're going to use, I'll get this out. We can grab our hitch and get it up into position. We'll grab our hitch. Holes in that are going to line up with the holes there in that beam. Hold it up in position. And get our hardware going through. The first one's always the hardest just because you're trying to keep everything lined up. But once you get 1 or 2 of them going, the rest will usually pop in a little bit easier. Once we have all our bolts passed through there, we can get the nuts on. So I'll go ahead and get these going hand tight. And once we have them started hand tight, we can snug them down. So you can either use a 3/4 inch or 19 millimeter. Either one will work fine. I like to use these box wrenches just because not a ton of room to work. But on this side, you are able to get a socket on it. We'll go ahead and get these snugged up. Once we have all the hardware snugged up, we need to come back and completely tighten it to the amount specified in the instructions. Use a torque wrench to do that. If you don't have one, you can get one here at eTrailer. Or a lot of times you go to your local auto parts store, they'll have one there available that you can rent. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver on our 2022 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.